Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. My kitchen garden is an amazing space and it's very productive for me. At the moment I'm getting lots of berries that I'm tucking away into the freezer. Now this production doesn't happen with no effort. I do have to actually maintain the garden from time to time, and that's what I'm going to do today. I actually started this process a couple of weeks before Christmas, but other activities became prioritised over this one. I'm always having to juggle tasks, with the one needing to be done the quickest hitting the top of the list, but finally this garden has made it to the top. Netting of my blueberries and boysenberries took place a few weeks ago. I had to clear out space around the brambles and shrubs in order to get the nets over and secure the edges down with logs so that the birds didn't have access. It's all worked pretty well. My boysenberries have mostly ripened and been harvested, and I've now left the plants open to the birds to enjoy whatever is left. I've certainly got lots of these luscious berries stored away. While I'd prefer to have a structure over my blueberries to hold the netting above the bush and protect the plant better, I just haven't had time to get this in place yet. Maybe one day. Again, I had to clear quite an area around each bush for netting and securing it. At this time I harvested lots of the herbs for drying, and I chopped and dropped any of the other growth and used it as a mulch. Once I've finished harvesting the berries and the netting is removed, the area will quickly be overgrown again with the herbs and it will look like I've never been there. The apple tree is looking great. Last year I had one little net bag over the one apple growing on it, but this year I decided constructing a structure to hold a net right over the top of this tree would be worthwhile, as there is lots of fruit developing. I started with getting 4 posts in the ground, then used these to hold up some plumbing pipe that I had lying around. It took quite a bit to get it all up and secure. In many areas of the kitchen garden, including around this apple tree, soil is becoming bare, so definitely in need of a wood chip top up. Once the wood chips were all down, I could get on with getting the net over the top, and once again just secured the bottom with some logs. It all turned out pretty good and has kept the birds out so far, so I'm hoping for a bumper crop come March or April. Also, a couple of weeks ago, while completing my apple tree project, I redid a little pathway next to the fence. A bit of cardboard and a pile of wood chips makes it all good again. Quick and easy, love it. So back to today. What I'm going to do is focus on this top end of the garden, and hopefully if I get time I'll do the other end. But for the moment, this is the most overgrown and out of control. It's really hard to access my herbs at the moment. I've got this acacia growing. I don't need that, so I'm going to chop that down and use that as mulch. The birds are actually really enjoying all these seeds from the Swiss chard, but there's just too much of it at the moment, and I think there's plenty of seed on the ground to give me some more plants for the coming winter season. So I'm just going to make a start with my herb garden. I've got to reclaim this path and just cut some of these back. All this oregano is going to flower now. These weeds can come out. I've got kale going to seed, which I don't mind kale self-seeding around the place. So I'm just going to start to chop it down, lay it down on the ground, cover up the soil, and then redo my wood chip path with some wood chips. Any of the weeds that are really going to seed, I'm just going to throw into my compost. You can see here too, like the front garden, all the organic matter gets quickly used up, and we get this drying out situation. For the moment, I've just got to keep up with all the organic matter. It's hard to even remember that you've got some plants in here when it becomes so overgrown, but I don't mind an overgrown situation because it kind of gives you plenty of biomass to use to cover up the soil. In addition to the wood chips, it all provides a diversity of nutrients for the soil organisms to live on. All these grasses, I'm just going to throw the chicken. It's got the grass seeds on it, so they should enjoy a bit of this greenery. I like to get it out first and then chop it into pieces, clear around the plants that are my kind of in the garden plants, and then mulch with it all. It kind of gives me a chance to find the plants under all of this mess and look after them a little bit better. Look what I got to deal with. How can you say no to that? Now I've got a sage bush under here, so I've got to clear all of this out from that. Parsley going to seed, all sorts of things going to seed. These ones are an icicle radish, which I don't mind if that spreads around the garden, because that, you know, the tap roots really help with the soil building. Okay, next to uncover is this little chive in here. Looks like I've had some blackberries growing in here as well. So spiky. The main flowers that are flowering at the moment is this lovely evening primrose. I did put in a wildflowers for bees mix into this garden, and it produces all these different flowers at different times of the year. First of all, we get the nice little orange California poppies in abundance, and they seem to die back. Then later in the season, we get this evening primrose coming through, and it's just lovely and the bees love it. Kind of a shame clearing this out before it's really seeded properly, because the local birds really do enjoy the seeds from this, but there's a time you've just got to call it and get on top of things. In around this space, I do have my herbs, so I've got my lemon thyme, my rosemary and chives. So everywhere else, I've just had annuals, so I don't really have to worry about what I'm stepping on or covering over. I'm just going to look after these guys, which are my perennials, and then mulch around those, and just have faith that the annuals will self-seed. You know, the radishes will come back, the Swiss chard, there's plenty of seeds down, and once we get the soil going again and the time is right, all those plants will just return. Now once again, you can see how dry it is. You know, it's a wonder these little things really can grow at all. So we're truly in need of updating this whole space, and it will be able to conserve moisture again. So all I'm going to do is just kind of do the chop and drop, break these things up as best I can, and just put it all down again. So I was just breaking off these other plants at their base, so the roots are still in the ground, and placing all this around these plants, which will cover the soil. And the wood chips over the top will bring it up a treat. This is creeping buttercup, which seems to take off where I've got a lot of moisture around the place, but it does cut down fairly easily, and I could keep on top of it a lot better than I do, but it is what it is at the moment. Hopefully you can make it out there, but there's a small ditch that just runs right through the garden. And that's my mini swale that feeds water down from my driveway into this garden. When I first put the garden in, I dug out this little trench and filled it with wood chips. But it looks like all the wood chips have mostly rotted down now, and they're kind of gone. So I'll be filling that up with all this vegetation and pile it up with the wood chips again, so it's kind of a flat surface, so that it works as that moisture sink that you really need in your gardens. All right, this path area and this small section here is ready to go. It looks like a bomb's gone through, but it will grow again soon. If I put more perennials in, that will make this whole area a lot easier to maintain than having the annuals in here. I don't mind the annuals popping up, you know, like these little guys here. Quite welcome, but I'd rather have more of these perennials. The whole area will be a lot easier to maintain. At the moment, I'm doing this because, well, it's been really dry for the last month, but we're going to have some heavy rains tomorrow, so I need to get this done so that all this organic matter can soak up those the rains and not let them go to waste. Oh, it's a bit hard not to bury plants sometimes. There you go. We just need a bit of moisture into this chive plant to bring it back to life. In this section, I'm sort of going to do a reset. It's got so weedy and out of control, and there wasn't any higher value plants in here at all. So I'm going to let this settle, and then I'll plant in 3 more blueberries, the ones that I've got in pots over there. Then I'm going to grab a few more herbs, some pineapple sage and maybe some tarragon, a few of the herbs that I haven't got in the garden, and put them on this side, keeping in mind I've got my little swale coming through here. So my blueberries I'm going to sit out here so they get the benefit of the watering. And the herbs hopefully will fill out this section and beat the weeds to the area in future. I'm going to tackle this section here now. So there's lots of the Swiss chard to dig out of here. Not too many grasses just in this bit. So I hope to just chop and drop a lot of this. Find the gooseberry. I've got a gooseberry in amongst that. I'll keep that yarrow here, and I might keep this fennel flowering just for a little bit, but as soon as it's stopped the flowering going to seed, I'll get that out of here. I managed to find my little gooseberry plant, which is here, and it's no surprise there's no flowers or anything on it. It hasn't actually seen the light so far this summer, and I've just discovered in amongst it one of the branches has rooted, so we've got another gooseberry plant there, and actually I think we've probably got yet another one here. I've got a video on this kitchen garden and how easy it is to get extra plants out of spaces like this. So I'll leave a link at the end of my video today that links to that video, and you can see what I mean. There is one little parsley plant coming along there, and it won't be long before lots of little seedlings start to pop up again here. It's a shame to pull out these orange poppies, but they do grow fairly profusely, so I'm pretty sure they will return, if not this summer, but certainly next summer. They've been here each year since I've planted them, so they're a great self-seeder and volunteer in the garden. What do you got there, Rubes? It's been three years since I've done this garden, and I haven't redone the wood chips, and it's really in desperate need. I'm just going to lay this back down again and just make sure all this soil's covered up. Chop these big ones up a bit so they lay a bit flatter and more likely to keep the moisture in if they're close to the ground. So that area is essentially covered. I'll keep an eye on it, and as it shrinks down I might just add some wood chip, but I'm not going to rush to do that there. It should settle down and once again grow me some Swiss chard. This section here is a really grassy section because I didn't cover it with cardboard well enough right at the start, and I've never really got it under control. So, you know, that's how it is. I'm going to clear out under this lime tree, and I'm going to pile up the wood chips quite thickly. Now I'm just going to place all of that down and then bury it in wood chips. This section here is really bad with grasses. You can see when I'm cutting the grasses down, there's just seeds dropping. So I might have to source some cardboard and lay that down before I put wood chips, because otherwise all these grasses are just going to keep regrowing. So all I'm going to do today is get all the grass cut down, and then I'm just going to put all of that back on top as the organic matter, because there's already a heap of grass seeds down there, so I might as well just make the most of that and then get the wood chips on top when I can, after, you know, just covering up with some cardboard first. It seems a bit pointless just to go ahead with the wood chips. This section here didn't really have grasses, so this will be good to go. And that section over there really didn't have too much in the way of those grasses either, so I wasn't too concerned about that. But down that end, it's constantly been an issue, so I really should address it properly. There's some really lovely little cornflowers in this section here, which I've got to be really careful. I want them all to go to seed so that they appear again next year. So I'm going to be really careful with what I pull out in this section so that they're maintained. Here's some already spreading their seeds around, which I want to encourage. I'm just going to weed around these Pacific irises so they're a bit clear, and I'll pop some wood chips right around the edge of this section, and that's probably all I'm going to get done for today. We mightn't have been able to get all of that garden done today because of lack of cardboard, but at least trees like this, when the rain comes, it'll be a lot happier. Well, I've finished for the day. I didn't quite get done what I wanted to do, but I've moved ahead a little bit, so you've got to be happy about that, don't you? I have got my lime tree better sorted for the hot weather, and hopefully with some rain coming, all the wood chips and just the organic chop and drop materials will help hold that moisture in the ground and just make this whole area more resilient. Anyway, I might have to do a part 2 to show you a completed kitchen garden, but that's all for today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.